will start by reading the little speech about our subject matter. Press conference last briefing, presentation of explanatory memorandum of a bill seeking for the establishment of National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission. Introduction. My name is Oji Philip Oji, the founder, Association of Concerned Citizens of Nigeria on Revenue and Economy, and also the author of the aforementioned bill, private member bill seeking for the establishment of a transparent, efficient, and fair taxation system in Nigeria. Let me start by thanking the members of the Green and Red Chambers of the 9th Assembly for their proactive action and unanimous support that passed the first and second reading of this bill, the National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission. You have proven your primary objective that you are really representing the good people of Nigeria communities, because the NIGTCC, after its enactment, shall be aka Nigerian People's Commission, and it will equally go a long way by rekindling the distrust and disbelief that the Nigerians have in the federal government, and equally inculcate discipline amongst taxpayers and the taxman. I want to especially thank the two great men that are sponsoring this bill in both the House of Representatives and the Senate. Honorable Benjamin Okezie-Kalu, the able spokesman of the Rep, and His Excellency Senator Dr. Ojus Okalu, the Chief Whip of the Senate. Again, my special thanks go to our two senior principal officers of the Red and Green Chambers. The President of the Senate, His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Lawal, and Right Honorable Speaker Dr. Femi Bajabi Amila. Men of the press, ladies and gentlemen, may I, on behalf of the Association of Concerned Citizens of Nigeria on Revenue and Economy, thank you all for deeming it fit to attend this historic press briefing of the bill that seeks the establishment of National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission. Business of the day, explanatory and the bill defense. Tax is a very complex subject to discuss. The poor don't want to hear about taxes, neither do the rich have time to listen to issues that concern tax. No one loves to pay tax, neither do government want to impose them on its citizens. But no nation can exist without tax. In that respect, seems the need for the government to take the responsibility of fashioning a fair, efficient, and transparent taxation system that guarantees the security and the protection of taxpayers' rights. Global Methodology of Taxation, OECD Guide. Tax transparency is a hot debated issue in the world economic development and growth. The G20, G7, IMF, World Bank, UNDP, and the OECD are worried about some African countries' system of taxation, example Nigeria. OECD Guide. One of the 10 global principles of OECD demand that its member countries should have an independent agency saddled with the responsibility of oversight to its revenue collectors, in bracket FRS, trained with the best global forensic skill for checks and balance in their domestic tax administration, and equally benefit from the automatic information sharing of the OECD and UNDP tax inspectors without border. Example, there is the Internal Revenue Service IRS and the Treasurer Inspector General for Tax Administration TICTA of the United States. The Australia Tax Office ATO and the Inspector General of Taxation / Ombudsman of Australia, and His Majesty Revenue and Customs HMRC, and the House of Commons Treasurer Committee and Ombudsman HCTC/O of the United Kingdom. Overview of the United States growth in taxation. In 1862, the United States, after the United States Civil War, the United States went and copied the United Kingdom method of income tax. In 1919, the United States created CID of IRS, In 1921, after the World War I, the United States Parliament created the GAO, Government Accountability Office, to work with their legislative Congress. In 1951, the United States created the Special Service of the IRS. They also has taxpayers advocate and tax ombudsman. But upon all these strong investigative and inspecting departments that even carry firearms, the public complaint of corruption in the IRS still persisted. That brought about the enactment of the Restructuring and Reform Act of IRS in 1998 that established the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration of the United States. In 2010, the United States created Foreign Account Tax Compliance at FATCA to checkmate international tax fraud in countries such as Nigeria that does not have a tax inspecting agency to share automatic information of the OECD. The word is about emulation and innovation. Note that it is better to borrow ideas than to borrow money. E.g., the Australians copied the United States, South Africa copied the United States, Ghana copied Canada, while the Kenyans copied the United States, ECT. Globalization and electronic service delivery, ESD, has proven that countries no longer have the luxury to operate in isolation, especially in taxation business. Globalization, global observation, and case studies. Note that the criminality in taxation is not limited to taxpayers alone. Example, Mr. Joseph Dunan Jr., who headed the Internal Revenue Service from 1944 to 1947, was sentenced to 5-year jail term for diversion of $150,000 tax fraud fund. Up to date, most of the sophisticated tax fraud in the United States involves IRS officials, both the formal and active staffs and directors. In Australia, the AGT/O investigative operations have indicted many ITO officials multiple times. Area of reliance. Note that our economic challenges are not insurmountable. It is one thing to identify the problems we have. Another is to fashion the information technology in resolving them. Do we have the potential and capability? Yes, we have the market size as an advantage. I don't believe in complaining and limitation, such as Nigeria economy has collapsed, Nigerians are corrupt, Nigerians don't love each other, etc. I would rather say that our enemy is a system failure in our economic management, caused by the inefficient, ineffective, inequality, and dishonest regression taxation system we operate. As I earlier enumerated, our predicament is not insurmountable. I thereby proclaim that Nigeria will not die. Nigeria will not only recover from its economic challenges, but will reclaim its position as the giant of Africa economically. Way forward. Proclamation, declaration, rule of law is not what make the difference. Rather, what makes the difference is the ability of the state to create a remedy enshrined in the Constitution to safeguard the right of the citizens against administrative excesses, manipulation, intimidation, and the maladministration of some corrupt tax officials. Note that the taxpayer's perception is pivotal in taxation business. No government will expect its taxpayers to comply voluntarily in their tax obligations if the taxpayers believe that the tax structure is unfair and dishonest. Meanwhile, the primary owners of the tax revenue is the community and the parliament. In that respect, esteem the need to periodically update these two major stakeholders. Example, Inspector General of Taxation and Ombudsman of Australia and the Treasurer Inspector General for Tax Administration of the United States periodically measure the taxpayer's satisfaction. Statutory mandate of the National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission, if enacted, to protect the Federal Inland Revenue Service employees, improprieties, and external attempts to corrupt or threaten Federal Inland Revenue Service employees. Provide policy direction, conduct, supervise and coordinate audit and investigation related to Federal Inland Revenue Service programs and operations. Review existing and proposed legislations and regulations related to Federal Inland Revenue Service programs and operations, and make recommendations concerning the impact of such legislation or regulations. Promote economy and efficiency in the administration of the tax laws. Inform the Auditor General and Legislative Congress of problems and the deficiencies identified and of the progress made in resolving them. Apparently, it is the duty of the legislators, the MPs, to fast-track the passage of National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission bill into law as a watchdog in our tax administration to save the lives of our unborn generation, because the MPs cannot leave their legislative duties to engage in day-to-day 247 oversight of Federal Inland Revenue Service. Do we have the potential, capability to progress and equally promote our economy through taxation? Yes, we have the market size as an advantage. We have the untapped areas such as international taxation, property tax, proper remittance of withholding taxes, VAT and consumption taxes with a modern information technology. Men of the press, ladies and gentlemen, if my suggestions, recommendations, and my 5-year strategic framework can be implemented, we shall witness a tremendous inflow of tax revenue of over 30% ratio to our GDP. Observation shows that this type of tax revenue economic recovery method has been tested in the United States from 1972 to 1998. The United States was the highest in the increment on tax rates. Yet, the IRS was not able to make any improvement in meeting its target in tax revenue, generating just about $900 billion to $1.2 trillion annually. Before the Treasurer Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission came on board in 1998. That was when their MPs became surprised that the tax revenue hit $2 trillion in 1999. President George Bush, President Barack Obama, and President Donald Trump all did what they call tax cuts. Yet, the tax revenue of the United States continued to grow higher. Now, the tax revenue of the United States is close to $4 trillion per annum. There is no country in the world that was able to adopt the global best practice of a transparent, efficient, and accountable taxation system that did not grow economically. National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission departmental structure. The heads: Inspector General of Taxation, Deputy Inspector General, Principal Deputy Inspector General of Taxation. Departments: DIGT, that is Deputy Inspector General of Taxation for Audit, DIGT for Investigation, DIGT for Inspection and Evaluation, Associate Inspector General for Mission Support, Office of Ombudsman, and the Office of the Chief Counsel. National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission Strategic Framework. NIGTCC vision to maintain a high-skilled, proactive, and diverse Inspector General organization dedicated to working in a collaborative environment with key stakeholders to foster and promote fair tax administration. NIGTC's mission to provide quality professional audit, investigative, inspection and evaluation service that promote integrity, economy, and efficiency in the Nigerian tax administration. NIGTC's core value: integrity. Maintain the highest professional standards of integrity, personal responsibility, independency, objectivity, and operational excellence in pursuit of NIGTC's mission. Organizational innovation. Modern innovative practice in organizational structure, organizational programs and process, audit, investigative and inspection and evaluation, methodologies, and application of advanced information technology. Finally, I want to use this opportunity to thank to tell Nigerians that there is hope and that our future is very bright. I also want to plead with our NGOs such as the NLC, ASU, MBA, NUJ, and NANS, Nigerian Women Organizations, our royal fathers, the kings, and our religious leaders to join my group and I to persuade the NAS and Mr. President to pass the National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission bill into law, because the first human rights and the democratic struggle in the world started from upholding a transparent taxation system. Meanwhile, tax transparency bill is a human rights bill in nature. Note, a dishonest, regressive, and weak taxation system is a threat against humanity, economy, security, and democracy. In that regard, our expectation for a wonder-performing president come to 23 will amount to nothing without a restructured, proactive taxation system that is transparent and accountable. Because whoever wins as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come to 23, obviously, the person is not coming to Aso Rock with his or her own money. In that regard, there is no partisan politics when it comes to taxation business. My speech will be incomplete without thanking the members of my group, the Association of Concerned Citizens of Nigeria on Revenue and Economy. Our members are in all the six geopolitical zones of the Federation, while thanking you all for your relentless effort preaching peace and unity among Nigerian youths in your respective jurisdictions, that they should shun violence and not to confront federal government, but rather bring a genuine argument to the NAS, which is the National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission bill that you have been sponsoring for the past 4 years. Here we are today in this historic press briefing of our bill, the National Inspector General for Tax Crime Commission. I cannot thank you enough for your state worship multiple times here. They actually needed Nigeria to key in because we have a lot of things which may come again from another person who will question me can come in with that one. Our market size is what you asked me. That is, I'm saying that consumption is our market size. It should have tell very, very much. It's not telling. Or maybe we're not seeing the impact. But it's supposed to happen because with that size, the equatorial Guinea that is very small don't have it. But why is it that we consume to pay tax and the impact is not showing? I think that question is answered. Now, nobody is complaining about the finance minister, the Federal Revenue Service chairman, and so on. No. In America, we have them. That does not stop them from having the Treasurer Inspector General for Tax Administration, TICTA. So, on that note, if you check, you will see that some people even mistake or sometimes ask questions about EFCC. They are not tax people. They don't have the requisite background to go for tax. That's a military approach. Because if you check the TICTA, as I mentioned earlier here, the TICTA come on board 1998. Before they finished training, because there's a lot of things to do with training, the MPs were surprised because the owners of tax is the community and the parliament. But in Nigeria, they were keeping dark, inviting the person who collected the tax to come and give information. How? No matter how good the person is, it's assumed that he must be biased or she must be biased. It should be somebody else. For checks and balance, even ordinary somebody private businesses, you don't simply give the person selling to own everything he tells you take. No, you have to have somebody who will be an external auditor, who will come and check. It will even make the person sit up, knowing that he cannot just say what he wants. Somebody will come and check. Let me go to that point of talking about the Federal Revenue Service. They know. Because the new order today is that we cannot join the world method of taxation because we are losing a lot in the world. We cannot repatriate our money that our brothers who are called international citizens. A Nigerian who owns companies in every part of the world, we have a particular percentage which is higher. In fact, it was around 70% to us if it's our brother. His own payment there, he normally pay because they don't joke with their tax. But we cannot repatriate because the OECD and several other unions of the OECD, they can't share information with the domestic collector. They still see it as a one-sided or a shady method of taxing. If there is an inspector, they will not tell you that the tax inspector without border that I mentioned earlier is the one to even help you do the domestic forensic audit. So, multinationals to evade tax and so many other things that maybe I will not even talk about security. But the truth is that if you key in, you see that the tax of today, because generally 100%, if not more, let me just say 100, it's up to 100% or 90-something%. It's in the electronic service delivery. We no longer operate visiting people's premises to collect tax. Because some people may not really need to be in Nigeria, but yeah, they are doing business more than the person that is presently having a particular place you can visit. So if it is in the electronic service delivery, they can be able to see, to get somebody on track, check illicit financial flow and so on. Because when one money is moving, it's only when you are, okay, let me just put it like this. Police Interpol does not require IG's office to do their job. They connect with their colleagues overseas. So we are going to stand so that we will now repatriate certain monies. That is, if you hear the money, you'll be surprised. It's close to 20 trillion naira a year. How will you leave it and be collecting 6 trillion? And why is it that, why can't you see that it was why we are borrowing every day? And it will never stop. And that is what I say, I don't complain. If we have a way to go, why do we complain? So I'm not complaining because I know immediately if we are lucky and this thing is signed into law, within first 12 months, even when we are going through training, some money will be repatriated. Because the world is worried about our character towards taxation. So I am very confident that Mr. President and the Senate and the Rep will fast track this bill before they go for election. Because I'm very sure that nobody is coming to rule this country that can stand what is facing us now. But if we can do this, if the person has good intentions, he will receive the money he will use to operate. I don't see why somebody will be expecting a miracle. Without this, you will not see any miracle.